Hi, I am Garrett Mason, and I work with a variety of organizations, including CorpsAfrica and PACT, which are two international development organizations that I've used the Innovators Compass with. One of the most common ways that I've used it is in training volunteers with CorpsAfrica. They go off and do a project for 1 year in rural communities within their own country. And I train them on using the Innovators Compass as a framework in which specific tools fit into it that I use from human-centered design. So, for example, the people section of the Innovators Compass is all about, or one of the tools I use within that is called the stakeholder matrix. Which is a common design tool that's used. There's the observations. We do all sorts of different tools in there. I think actually my favorite are the ones that come from participatory rural appraisal, like community mapping or seasonal calendars, or some of those other tools that are very common in international development work. But I kind of bring that under the observations. A lot of the principles area and ideas, I use very common design thinking tools in those for brainstorming, and a tool I call the ideation horizon. And then in experiments we do parallel prototyping and hypothesis based experiments, and a variety of things in there. So that's sort of the main way that I train the volunteers, but I ask them to actually use that same framework for guiding their project work with the community members. So they work with the community to develop a project that benefits the community, but it kind of belongs within this framework of these 5 areas of the Innovators Compass. And it's recorded in just a regular notebook or journal, where anyone from the community that's working on the project can then see the different ideas or principles or observations that people are making in order to advance the project. The last thing that I really use the Innovators Compass for is this framework that around mindsets. And so it's not just a set of tools that belong under observations or under ideas, but it's really a set of mindsets that I want the volunteers to have, and be intentional about those approaches as they work with community members. And I've used it as this framework with volunteers for 2 years now, and there were a number of volunteers that really were excited about using it and wanted to train their own community on the use of the compass. And they translated the compass into Chichewa, which is the local language in Malawi, and ran several trainings for communities with that. So I think it's a really powerful framework that the volunteers even recognized and wanted to share more deeply with the community.